everyone. Hopefully coming through okay, but yeah, I guess going from the classic to the unknown, as it was brought to you earlier. Little known 3D platformer called Super Sami roll today. I'm really proud to be showing this one off. My name is Dylan. I go by S&C. I'm joined today by co-commentator Osu.
Yeah, I'm Ben, but also known as Osu. I have a bit of a strange history with the game. I actually came in through another game called Rivals of Aether, and this gentleman next to me over here was playing this on stream one day, and I thought, oh, this looks interesting. Slowly got into it, and I guess the rest is history.
I've slowly been converting the scene in the time since, but we'll get ourselves started today. So Super Sami roll has 3 difficulty options as we start. The any % speed run uses relax mode, so we're going to have checkpoints in every level and no time limits. Those no time limits are going to be important in some of the levels that we play through, but time should be starting in 3, 2, 1.
Let's hit it.
Get going.
Good luck.
All right, we're going to be skipping the cutscenes at the start here, but brief little context. Classic 3D platformer tropes. Bad guys stolen the hero's girlfriend on a journey to save them.
Good old trope.
Nothing too fancy here. But to give you a little bit of context, what we're going to be seeing here today is a course clear 3D platformer, very much inspired by the likes of Marvel platformer games, something like Super Monkey Ball, which you're going to be seeing a little bit later today. And more wrapped up in like the 3D Mario aesthetics, let's say. You know, even like the 2D Mario like world screen here. You've got the classic like grass, sand, ice, and lava worlds throughout.
And those worlds will be switched up as we go between different worlds. Currently we're in World 1, and each world gets progressively a little bit more difficult over time, and the themes kind of change.
Yep.
But there's a healthy mix of different kinds of levels, as you'll see as we keep going.
Going to be short and sweet for the most part in Worlds 1 and 2. This level here, one of the longer ones to start off with, but hopefully a fun one. There are plenty of tricks to sort of talk about as you go through. So one right here, I'm holding jump off this ramp, which sort of slows my fall time in the air, lets me do a couple of skips in this level in particular.
And that slowing of gravity, I suppose, is going to be super useful.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Unfortunate going over
I've
the side
saved it.
there.
We're okay.
Nice recovery.
But holding jump there lets me skip that whole section on the side there as well. But just need to get myself a little comfortable. 38's not a great start on that one, but we should be okay. Not one that I'm normally scared of. There are a couple of tricks to be frightened of, and one that's coming up very soon into the run. But yeah, so Sami sort of controls by rolling. There's no walking animation. It means there's a little bit of friction. You're fighting against the character's movements at some stage. You're building up a lot of momentum and then having to change it pretty quickly. The main thing that you're doing to change that is his tongue grapple. So you can grapple, jump, and do a ground pound. So what I'm trying to do here is a ground pound boost off the side of this here. It's pretty tight. This setup lets me do it a little really close.
Damn.
You get 3 attempts at this before you start losing time to the other strategies. So this is the early run killer. One that I always seem to struggle with at live events. So we'll try to go a few more times here. Hopefully shouldn't be much longer.
Luckily, there's only a couple of levels that require this level of precision with a simple little trick.
Yes.
But this one being so early into the run can be a little bit demotivating.
It is a bit of a killer, so at this point you'd be hitting the reset button and going again, but I think we finally got there.
There we go. Nice work.
Does save in the region of like 16 to 20 seconds, I think, compared to the faster strategies. So most of the time you're looking for first or second try 1-6 before you keep going with the run if you're really serious about the run. Only a couple of strategies like that today, but I am pulling out all of the stops today. We're doing all of the difficult stuff where we can.
And we'll be demonstrating that a little bit further on, especially in World 4, where there's been a lot of recent changes to the routing.
Yeah, that is very true. So I'm actually very fortunate. This is my 3rd time running this game through AusSpeedruns. really enjoyed my time at live events. But in the time since, there's been a few strategy changes, mostly in the back half of the game. So going to be excited to show that off to anyone who may have seen me at some of these runs before. It's a good time for sure.
And we do have a bit of a side bet going on. If you can beat the game in under 44 minutes.
Yep. Some good old checkpoint abuse mixed with the gravity. So holding jump after resetting there gives me the gravity to float over that ramp there.
Yeah, another example of being able to get more time in the air to kind of float a bit more, which is kind of a unique mechanic, I would think, in these sorts of games.
Yeah, I suppose like we've seen some 3D platformer classics here today. This is a modern platformer, but very much classic sensibilities, let's say. I think the player skill and expression is a very important part of what makes this game so fun to speedrun. Your ability to sort of route a stage, being presented by all these little things in the world and being able to pinpoint it, it's what makes speedrunning so fun for, I'm sure, most of us here. I think Super Sami Roll does it so well. Can be a tricky stage, this one. You get a very thin rail here to time your jump.
Oh, he nails it. Nice work.
Thankful to get that one. It's one that I...
It's a bit dubious at times.
Had some mixed luck on that one recently, but should be okay.
Very quickly encroaching on the final boss. Not the final boss, sorry. This world boss.
Gonna be a very, very quick run today.
Right after this level is complete, we will be getting in a confrontation with our villain, Albert the 7th.
Oh, we're going to fill him in the lore.
Here we go.
Yeah, Super Sami Roll, a world full of animals. So Prince Albert. I call him Prince. I don't think he is a prince. I always make that mistake. I'm not sure why. It might be that Prince Albert in a can thing. I think that's...
Well, maybe, you know, it's headcanon that he's
yeah, I suppose so. Yeah,
Bouncing against the wall over here to save just so much time.
Introduced to him right now, our little monkey friend, Albert the 7th, who is a collector of exotic animals. So he's actually going around and collecting all of Sami's friends in the canon of this game, I suppose. Good RNG on this first one. The wait time in between missiles is variable. Unfortunately, I'm getting bad RNG right now, so out of luck a little bit. You want to trace that missile and get him to hit, to send out multiple missiles at once. The missiles only last for 10 seconds, so I was kind of forced to hit him at a certain point there. Otherwise, I would have to wait for a complete, an extra missile cycle, which is not what you want. So we're just going to trace this around the outside and hope that his routing is kind. This is good. This is perfect.
Oh, that's good.
So you want to hit him and don't land on his head to start with. During his hit stun animation, you can hit him again with the next missile. Saves a bit of time there. So first missile, not quite good RNG, but the rest of that was clean. Liked that.
And here we are going on to the Parched Sandlands, a very deserty themed world.
You can tell Osu's been studying.
It's a little bit more thematic than just saying World 2.
Yeah, okay.
Has a bit more flair.
So starting off easily enough, lining up that grapple can sometimes be a little bit tricky. So the ground pounds do get impacted by the launch angle, and you want to be as close to the ground as possible for these. This is one of the more difficult strats in any percent right now. Hoping to absolutely nail this one for you today. Perfect.
Wow, that is a lot more difficult than he made it look. So to get it first try, that's some good omens right there.
Yeah, not one you get first try very often. Normally that strat is saved for individual level records. It's not one that we used to do for the any percent, but the category's been pushed a little bit since the last time I did a run at AusSpeedruns. So world record's been dropped by probably another minute in that time. When I first started running this game, world record was 42 minutes and I want to say 25 seconds, maybe 35. World record held by me today. is 38 minutes 25. So we've knocked down 4 minutes off the world record in the last couple of years of running the game. Plenty of new strats have been found, some new glitches to abuse, which is not something this category is well known for. Not many glitches you're making use of.
It's just a lot of expression of skill, I suppose.
Yeah. It's what I enjoy about it. Super Sami Roll is a very pure speedrunning experience. If you like course clear games where you just are focusing on getting the best possible time on your route, then this is the game for you.
There's not a whole lot of like glitching into walls or going out of bounds. Or
Yeah, there's only one example in any of the individual level records. We're not going to see it today, where you go out of bounds to actually get the record time.
And this level right here is quite infamous in our little scene for having a very particular jump through a certain object, which will be coming up shortly.
It's a community favorite, this level. I'm not sure why it is, but everyone really seems to love this jump in particular. Abusing. Oh, no! Catching a death there. I'm going to try to make it up to you all, but it's tough to do it from the checkpoint. Oh, no. This is going to be a no cactus jump run. I'm really sorry.
That's unfortunate, but luckily there is this little backup route we have for when the cactus jump doesn't work out quite right.
It's tricky to do from a checkpoint, and I could just keep resetting there and trying to do it, but I want to keep the run going. Damn, disappointed not to get that one for you, though.
Well, there'll be other cool tech coming up in a little bit that you'll be able to show off for the crowd.
Just a tricky example of like coyote time, if people are familiar with that mechanic, where if you go off a ledge, you have a little bit of time in the air where you can still input your jump. You know, it just makes it a little bit easier, I suppose. So we're abusing that and the fact that the sand is sloped to get to that cactus. It's all classic speedrunning stuff, I suppose, hey?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing too fancy at this stage. This level is one that we've worked on a little bit. We've brought in a little bit more of the IL strats, but a little bit safer. So one thing that I've done there at the start is when you're doing ground pounds, if you do consecutive ground pounds, you get a little bit more height on the second one. So doing 2 ground pounds there gives me enough height to make that boost consistent, where I'm doing these ground pounds just to speed up my routing a little bit. I'm going a little bit slower here because I don't think I would be able to beat the cycle on these.
And this level is a bit of a reason why we choose relaxed to avoid the time limit, because otherwise we would only have 10 seconds. Coins do add a second, but that level is very, very tricky to complete with added time pressure.
Yeah, the difference between relaxed and normal mode is not really felt in the majority of the run. So normal mode, you still get all the checkpoints, but you do have the timer. But all of these like pinball-themed levels, let's call them, they have the shortened timers. So you start with 10 seconds on the clock, and you need to route for coins, or pips, or tokens, whatever you want to call these. I don't know what the official term is. But each of those will give you an extra second before you get reset back to your checkpoint.
You'll also notice raspberries popping up from time to time in these levels, and those are more examples of collectibles to be found. There's also keys that unlock certain secrets, and you can also find the golden owl, which will also unlock new levels. Yeah,
we've got secret exits in some levels. They're good fun. Not seeing any of that today, so this is... Technically, if I do my routing perfectly, it's a low % run. We're not doing any extra collectibles. We are just playing the bare minimum levels to complete the game.
Just as fast as humanly possible.
Yep. It's not a bad start on that one. There are some tricks here where it's possible to miss them very easily, so... Ooh,
that's not the cactus jump we want.
Not the cactus jump we want at all. Oh, no. Okay.
Oh, that's an unfortunate jump right there.
There is no input buffer on these grapple jumps, so you do have to time the grapple connecting to the wall and then pressing the jump input. So if you're not completely comfortable, sometimes you will mess up the timing a little bit. It's not not anything major there. I think we're doing well so far.
Here's a bit of a tricky level coming up, especially for newer players to the speedrun. Trying to grapple across this Sphinx, I believe.
Yes.
Connecting and getting the grapple jumps can be a little bit tricky because it's an object that doesn't really want to be grapple jumped on.
No, yeah, it's very much a case of, you know, messing up with the game in ways it's not really intended to. Ooh, going the wrong way. Sami also has a pull-up animation, so if you are hitting the edge of platforms, he will want to grab it and pull himself up. We want to avoid that as much as possible. It's slower than just grappling up normally. But that Sphinx statue is an example of Sami really wants to climb it when he can't possibly climb it. And he just gets stuck sometimes. You lose all momentum and then you just fall and die a lot of the time.
And we are about to see our prince once again.
Not our prince. No, it's not. That's my mistake entirely.
Well, in any case, we will be seeing Albert once again at the top of this tower and using...
Oh, I'm getting squeezed.
Oh dear, I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Not a fun place to be.
Here we go, in a different vehicle this time.
Yeah, he's full of mechanical surprises. This boss fight here is the most consistent out of all of them. Normally the boss fights in this game have a bit of RNG that you need to contend with, whereas this one, it can be fully manipulated. I think he's in a good spot here. So long as he's facing directly on the side of the platform there, these mines will go into this nice little square shape, and it means we can just route him. Classic platformer rules, 3 hits and we're done, so we don't need him to spawn any more mines with this layout, which is something that can be a bit of an issue. If he's in the wrong position, we'll get hit.
Nice.
But that boss fight is entirely consistent. You're normally walking away with only 1 or 2 seconds variance. Unlike all of our other boss fights, which are in the range of 40 seconds variance with RNG.
And here we go into World 3. This world is a bit notorious for being a huge difficulty spike.
It's a stopping point for some people. They get to World 3, ice physics with how much you're already fighting the momentum gameplay of this game. Like, some people just...
nice pull-up.
Cannot stand it, but I don't know, it leads to some cool things. That nice little boost at the start there with the wind mechanics to make that jump. It's a cool skip. I do really enjoy World 3 once you get the hang of things.
We do start seeing longer levels in general over here.
Yes. Yeah.
And as a newer speedrunner to this game myself, it's a little bit deceptive because by the time you come up to the end of World 3, I mean, you feel like you're about 3/4 of the way through the game. But really, World 3 and 4 have some of the longer levels in the game.
I'm just going to retry. I've never done that before. But we have a ground pound boost that we're setting up here, where we get a second ground pound right there with the speed that we gained to make a massive skip. The setup for that used to be a lot more difficult, but those ground pounds on the little ice hut, what are those things called?
The igloos?
Igloos, that's the word. Thank you. This is what you're here for.
Yes, that's my job.
Holding jump here to skip over the balloons again, messing up with your momentum in the air.
We will be seeing a lot of that holding jump to kind of reduce your gravity on these balloons. With the balloons, you can get a lot of height from just holding down the jump button, a bit like that.
So the ground pound, you can't manipulate the momentum from that, but every time you bounce on a balloon normally, just hold jump here, and that gives me enough air time to be able to just skip straight to the air there. Feeling good. This is a good start so far, I think.
Yeah,
I still say a good start when we're almost halfway through the run. It feels that way. The way this run is paced is really deceptive as a runner. There is just such a big ramp up from Worlds 1 and 2. Worlds 3 and 4, you have the longer levels and also some of the most difficult stuff that you can do as well.
Ooh, narrowly dodging that cannonball right there.
Should be fine. One of the rare examples where we're just kind of waiting around for things. This level's broken up into thirds. So every time you go in a pipe...
Ooh, barely missing a little enemy over there.
I've just swapped my angle too soon. I'm trying to change angles very quickly with these jumps sometimes. And that's often when I'm doing camera movements as well, so you actually need to practice the camera movements as well as your movement.
Coming up here is going to be another example of our double ground pound to get a little bit more height to reach up there and skip a bunch of the paths connecting upwards.
Not possible 1 ground pound. Second ground pound gives us just enough height to make it. So long as we're timing our ground pound close to the ground as well. So the closer to the ground you are, the more height you're getting. Little awkward with the retry, but that was fine in the end.
Yeah, you got it. This one is quite tricky, easy to mess up. If you hit the spikes, it can absolutely be a restart from the very beginning, by putting yourself in a bad space.
The spikes here are to tell you not to do this, but I think we can all relate. If we see spikes on a wall, we want to jump around them and
of course
ignore them as best as we can. I do think it's a great little game to experiment with these little things.
And over here, we might see another piece of tech.
Maybe not. We'll see. Oh, actually get death, which is quite rare. But this level, the main strat, is the one you're seeing right now. Really. Oh no!
Oh no! Oh dear!
I've ground pounded at the wrong time, and I've actually locked myself out of grappling as well. So I forced a death in that situation.
Okay, well, 4th time lucky, right?
No, not even 4th time. I might have to go straight for backup at this rate. This is crazy. Oh, I don't know if this works or not. No, it doesn't.
Bugger. All right, come on, you got this.
I need a pep talk for this one. It's crazy. No, okay, I'm alive at the very least. So here's our backup strat, which you normally would be able to do without a death. If you ground pound and time a grapple, you can offset the height of Sami's tongue. So it ends up being above his body, and it means you're getting even more height than what a double ground pound would be possible for. It's the only way to make that exact grapple possible. And it's a strategy that we didn't really know we could use until fairly late in development of the 90% run.
Nice, there we go.
Because this level used to be notorious for you can't get the main strat, you just have to keep resetting until you get it. Normally, no deaths on that stage, you miss the main strat, you go for the backup, but I think I've walked away with 5 or 6 deaths there.
Oh dear.
Brings me back, feels like the old days.
Well, at least this is a bit of a stage where you can chill out, relax a little bit.
This is what we call the water break level. This is our auto-scroller. We do have one fancy little thing here we can do to skip the very first half. One of the reasons why we want to play the level in relaxed or normal mode, I suppose. I'm very late to the hours here. Yeah.
Ooh,
I'm copping a death.
That's very unfortunate, having to go all the way back to the start of this auto-scroller.
Just my pace was a little bit slow at some point there. I'm not sure where it was. Unfortunately, with the death there, I'm not saving any time in this auto-scroller skip anymore. It is about 30 seconds that you're saving with that, and I've just missed it at the final checkpoint there. Oh, I'm getting hit again! It's alright. We will get through. But unfortunately, the back half of the level, it's the only example of an auto-scroller in the 80% run where just sort of stuck waiting a little bit. But let's try to fix this one up. A little bit shallower on the jumps, trying to save a little bit of time on these. This feels a little bit better in terms of pace.
Yep. It's looking better. Let's see it.
So, diagonal grapple on the final layer there brings us to the checkpoint.
And he's made it. Nice work.
It is a bit deceptive watching this game. I do think that it is much more difficult playing it than you realize watching someone else play it. There is a huge sense of friction in the character. And those grapple jumps, it's very difficult to position yourself with the auto cam. It's the only level that's like this, I suppose, where you've got this fixed perspective. It definitely changes how Sami feels to control.
Luckily, the rest of this level over here is nice and easy. Like S&T said, a nice time to take a quick hydration break.
Yeah, as promised, the water break level. if we were doing individual level, we would be grappling across these birds. These are a set pattern here, and you can do some grapple jumps to speed yourself up by maybe 3 seconds at most. It's not a substantial amount of time, really. But not going to be going for that today, not after already copping some deaths. This is good. Oh, I don't think we've... Yeah, not quite a cycle skip. So we are down a cycle compared to the best possible strat on this stage, but this is pretty good.
That's still totally fine.
Yep. That ground pound boost at the start, it's a little bit tricky with the spacing, but yeah, this is a cycle-based level where you're kind of at the whim of the wind. These come in at fixed timings. Very easy to cop a death if you're in the wrong spot. Oh, that landing was a bit awkward. I might actually die here, but...
No, you're still alive. Well done.
Yeah, it should be fine. So we got one more of these, and we're going to make the run straight to the owl.
Nice. If you're a little bit sloppy on that jump over there, it is possible to get hit by the wind and get sent flying just before you hit the owl.
Also speaking from experience, yeah.
Damn, no need to call me out like that.
I should say, Osu only recently dabbled in the any%, so recorded his very first any% run in full quite recently. But, you know, been a good friend from the Rivals community for quite some time, has been watching the run for...
I just kind of absorbed the run from watching hours and hours of your streams. Just raw immersion, basically.
That's your years of experience and week of gameplay coming out.
Here's one of the first examples of a particularly tricky level. This is also quite long compared to some of the other levels. And so SNC over here is going to have to lock in.
Yeah, this is traditionally the focus stage when we're going to run. It's good vibes up until this point, and then you're really locked in. The run definitely ramps up in difficulty exactly at this level. So the next 3 are quite tricky ones.
Trying to contend with all these ice, with all this ice physics, and the different enemies along the way, alongside some very precise jumping. As you can see, Sami's movement speed being slowed down by these platforms moving against Sami's direction makes it very, very tricky.
Momentum is just a little bit tricky to contend with just in that section there, but I think we're okay. We're going to do a jump here to skip the rest of those platforms.
There we go.
That's a very clean example of 3-12. Nothing too tricky quite there. But as I say, the difficulty is ramped up at this point. The levels are getting longer. Need to hit more of these tricks and make sure our route is spot on all of these. So we'll do a ground pound to skip over this section and straight into these enemies again, using another boost from the little wind tornadoes that they
And if you thought these icy sections were difficult, here we go into our first example, like very thin ice platform that you have to try and slowly navigate around.
Yeah, I just sort of nudge the camera while I'm holding a single direction. I don't really change the direction on the stick. Controlling it with the camera is actually easier than controlling your movements, I suppose.
There's some precise jumps over these obstacles over here.
Yeah,
it's going to be trying to hit this first one, this second one, and make it over to the checkpoint.
Really well.
Nice.
I hit a very good cycle there.
And more of this tricky, thin slice of
I don't think
ice.
I beat him.
Ooh, unfortunate.
Playing it safe on that one. These icicles falling from the ceiling can really rub it in if you have to slow yourself down. So you need to know when to call it. It's very tempting to go for glory on a run like this, but...
Managing to avoid all of those snowballs, well done.
Sometimes safety is best. Oh, we're going the wrong way again.
The wrong way again. And a bit of a change up from all the ice frosty levels. Now we're in a haunted forest being chased by ghosts.
Yep. My long-time theory, which I don't know if I've ever tried to confirm this or not, was that this level was intended for World 1, but it ended up being too difficult, and they repositioned it for World 3.
And that's part of the reason why we...
Ooh, no.
use that checkpoint right there to get rid of the ghost so that we don't have that presence behind us. If the ghost does catch up with Sami, she will knock Sami up and just stun him for a bit.
Yeah, very much like a Shadow Mario kind of mechanic, or I think a good example would be Celeste. If you were watching yesterday's run, it's a mechanic that's in Celeste as well.
Here's another example of the ground pounds to get a little bit more vertical height. Unfortunately, didn't quite reach the red mushroom.
Yeah, a little bit awkward, but we'll do some grapple jumps and save that.
Nice recovery though.
Yeah, no input buffer on those grapple jumps, so if you're a little bit too quick on your inputs, you are locking yourself out of grappling, jumping out of it. And
if you were missing Albert the 7th, he's coming back again once more for another epic duel. Right as soon as we climb up this tower.
Yeah, unfortunately, full RNG this fight. I could put down the controller at this point. I don't have any control over how this fight goes. Like I said earlier, it's sometimes up to a 40-second variance on this split. I think it is possible that he does no other attack than the attack that you can hit him on. When he does the missiles, you're just waiting. 2 missiles in the same cycle is really unlucky.
Ah, dear.
But there are only 3 hits possible, and it's yeah, there isn't really a queue in place for this one, to my knowledge. Like, if he does missiles, it's still possible for him to do missiles again. I think it's just that he can't do the same attack consecutively. I think that's the only rule in place. I could be wrong about that, though.
Got 2 hits down. We just need this final hit.
Yep.
We need Albert the 7th to hurry up and just get back down to the ground.
Yep.
To finish things.
It is faster to get hit by that attack, where he has the little trail underneath him. Interrupts the rest of the attack animation. But yeah, we got through. Rule of thirds coming in again.
And onwards to the Molten Sea. World 4. The challenge once again rises a little bit with all of these very hot.
I don't think I have the momentum here, but I'm going for it.
Ah, dear.
It's deceptive, this one. Seems like a really easy jump, but it ends up being a run killer for me sometimes, and I just...
Manages to get it on the second try. Well done.
The current world record is almost a near flawless run in a lot of ways, but it has a 40-second time loss on this level. Of all levels, it's about 40 seconds. Where I could not make that jump for the life of me. It's alright, one day we'll clean it up. But it's alright. We are, again, different vibe here. There's a couple of shorter levels at the start of World 4 here, but still a pretty steady jump up from Worlds 1 and 2.
And I believe the very next level, we're going to be introduced to some new tech that's been discovered.
Yeah, different strategy for anyone who's seen the run before. This is the first time where we've actually been able to figure out how to use damage boosting in Super Sami Roll. These sets of 4 spikes have a single hitbox per 4, and you can get hit by either 3 or 4 of the spikes at once to damage boost Sami up and skip about 40 seconds of the level. So this was one of my favorite levels in the run at one point, and now you are skipping almost the entirety of it. It's, very funny.
The curse of speedrunning games.
Yeah, I know. It's such a pretty level as well, and you just don't see it. That's okay. It makes for a very smooth any % experience now. I think we are far enough into the run that I want to tell you a little bit about my experience with the game at this point. So this is a solo dev project. It's by Sonzai Games, who are based in Osaka, Japan, with a little bit of assistance with their publisher and I believe a Brisbane-based musician. Very least Australian. I'm not sure if it's Brisbane specifically.
I think it might be New South Wales.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
In any case, very much Australian.
But very much a project of passion, I suppose. This was the 3D platformer that they really wanted to make. And at release, it was very much underplayed. It went under the radar. And it only really got a bit of a revival in the 3D platformer scene thanks to a review by a YouTuber by the name of Nitro Rad. It's how I found out about the game. It's how many of the people in the scene found out about the game. In the very small speedrunning scene we have, in any case. Ooh, I might just restrike.
Yeah, nice.
I could try and save it, but I'm just going.
Sometimes you just got to know where to call it.
Exactly, yeah. Auto camera levels, so those walls are invisible, but very possible to grapple onto them. So yeah, the game received a second life after that video. I'm very thankful to have seen it myself. I'm someone who has always been an avid fan of speedrunning, but ooh, I'm losing momentum a little bit here. It's going to be a little bit awkward. Yeah, that's fine. There we go.
Well done.
But Super Sami Roll was the game that made me fall in love with speedrunning. It's changed the way I play games. I've now learnt the routes for many games which I really enjoyed as a child, just for fun, not even to compete. I've not even really streamed a lot of them, but for me, Super Sami Roll was it. This is how I found my love of speedrunning. I know all of us have our own different stories of how we came to that. Many of us with games that we grew up with that I'd found a second life as adults, maybe, speedrunning them, I suppose. But for me, it was the little unknown 3D platformer called Super Sami Roll. So I do have a lot of love in my heart for this game. It's been my great pleasure to showcase the run for you. Not just this event, but previous events held by AusSpeedruns. So I'm very, very thankful to be here today to show it off for you.
Yeah, so shout outs to AusSpeedruns for...
And, of course, ACMI, yeah.
For hosting this incredible event and for continuing to showcase this really underappreciated gem of a speedrunning title.
I do really love the selection of games that we've had this weekend. I wasn't able to catch everything live yesterday. I was checking out the VOD afterwards, but it's cool to me that Super Monkey Ball was a very big influence on the design of this game. I'm loving the fact that those two get to be paired together at ACMI today.
Now, here's another example of a tricky wall climb level with a central kind of pillar in the center. Although this is much less of a pillar and more of just like a little support beam.
That's actually a clean attempt at that. The hitbox detection on that one is a little bit janky because, again, the game doesn't want you to do some of these things.
The game really wants you to play the game.
Exactly. But we found a way. Didn't quite get a cycle skip on this one, but very rarely do with how inconsistent those wall jumps can be. That's all good. I feel like we're on a very good pace so far, to be honest.
Now, here's a very tricky technique that, if performed correctly, can save quite a bit of time. In fact, I believe this is the biggest skip in the entire game.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Got hit with RNG. I thought the setup was good, but don't even get an attempt at the jump. Could make this. No. Okay.
Right there. Unfortunately, just barely misses.
Yeah, this is one of the largest skips in the category. It skips a minute and a half of the level. And every runner has their own... I'm just going again. That was not good. Every runner has their own setup for this. Because it's game feel. Whatever feels best for you and whatever works for you.
Well done.
Is how you make that skip happen. So that's the way that I have found. In Osu's short time, he's doing an older version of the skip, which was the previous world record holder. He pioneered that one. And second place in the leaderboard. Plays with mouse and keyboard, which has some differences in terms of inputs. So you can actually buffer ground pound inputs. Ooh, that's a little awkward. You can buffer ground foot inputs using mouse and keyboard controls. So on that level, there is an alternative method that second place in the leaderboard has found. he's the only person I've ever seen go for that method on the level. So it's really wild that so late into the run you have a level with such an important skip, but, you know, 3 very different ways to do it. We are at the tail end of the run at this point.
This is where the difficulty really starts to spike up again. We have an important ground pound over there. Let's see if SSE's going to make it. He does!
Yeah, that's good.
First attempt as well. Well done. That saves quite a bit of time.
Now, only problem with doing that part of the skip is that you are changing your cycle a little bit here. It looks like I've done well here. You can sometimes catch a death with the lava wave catching up to you, but hopefully this should be a good example of this level. It's one of the more difficult ones, I think, as a first-time player, this level. You need to be really strict with yourself in terms of your routing. We always do a restart at this checkpoint in particular to reset the wave, because being on a different cycle for this very end section can be quite brutal.
And now he's going to be racing against these snakes, trying to get these 3 important jumps to get right to the end and get out of this lava zone.
That is a flawless example of how to play that level in any percent. Very pleased to have got that one through. Now, I am tempted to go for a damage boost that was recently discovered on this level, but it is far more difficult to pull off than the previous damage boost. So we're going to play this level the intended way in the any percent route. But yeah, the damage boost that we've discovered on this one saves 20 seconds compared to the route that I'm going for here. But 4-14 is our last platforming challenge, we'll say. The level after this is a much easier route. This here, with the thin rails, all of the spikes, the lava, everything that's at play here, it's a contender for one of the most difficult levels in the game to really learn this one, particularly if you don't have checkpoints. We did skip over a checkpoint earlier, so this is our first checkpoint here.
We'll be going for a massive jump over here into the shadow and darkness.
Yeah, just skipping this first curve. We'll go for the safer option, going to take the second curve here, but you can even go for something crazy to jump straight to where I am right now as well.
And another flawless showcase of quite a difficult level, honestly.
One of my favorite levels in the game, though. 4-14, I think, is an absolute masterclass of design in this game.
And once again, we'll be climbing up this tower and trying to see our good mate Albert once again, perhaps for a very final showdown. Let's see what awaits us at the top over here.
Well, you've got a little peek, but...
In fact, it is not Albert.
Yeah.
I wonder where you could be.
Not quite done just yet. So we have one final level here. Own little final showdown, individual boss fight. Another example where RNG comes into play, but we'll see how we go. We have another 3 attacks in total, so 1 and 3rd to get the attack that we want. If we just pass ourselves over. As soon as we see the attack that we don't want, we're going to retry. It removes it from the queue. So that was a 50-50 there, which we've lost as well. But this is now guaranteed to be the tentacle hit that we need. So we'll get Albert to just slap these little fireboxes. Removes the tentacle. So missiles, we're going to trace a path. Oh, I'm getting hit. Oh,
I don't know how you dodged that missile, but well done.
God, curving around the missile there, that's crazy. This should be guaranteed tentacle now.
Only got 2 of these fire generators left.
Yeah, no more rule of thirds. We have to hit all 4. But should be fine from here. Oh, we're going multiple attacks again.
Albert's going to go for another very quick beam attack right there. And are we going to see the tentacle come out? There it is.
Yep.
We only need 1 hit to beat this final showdown and to complete the game. Let's see it.
So it is going to be timed the second that this final tentacle hits the box. I'm going to give myself a little bit more space. I should be able to count you in as we get here, but Yeah, this has been a very clean attempt today. Very happy with the time that we've hit. So here we go.
Ready?
3, 2, 1. That's time.
Well done.
43 minutes 32 is actually the fastest anyone has ever achieved at a live event. So very, very pleased with that. The aim was sub 44 today, but very happy to walk away with that one. We'll let the credits roll in the background, but again, just want to thank both ACMI and AusSpeedruns for hosting us here today. I do have a lot of love in my heart for this game. Speedrunning is a hobby of passion. And to have a showcase like this where I get to share my love for this one for you all, it's very special to me. So thank you all. And thank you, Osu, for joining me today. It's the first time having a co-commentator as well. It's been fun.
Oh, it's been a pleasure and an absolute joy to be able to see the fastest ever speedrun at a live event, like you said. Oh my goodness, I didn't expect you to pull out some of the flawless levels that you did.
Yes,
crazy.
Yeah, no, very lucky. As I said, this game received a bit of a second life recently, and thanks to that, there's actually a sequel in development. It's something that the developer never thought would be possible. That's had a successful Kickstarter at the end of last year, and we're looking forward to that at the start of next year. So if you're interested, go check out the demo for Super Sami Roll 2 on Steam. It's free, and you can toy around with the game yourself. But for me, various quest mode unlocked.
Well done.
That wraps up my time with you all today, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much, SNC, for that fantastic run. We've had one super game, but what about another? Next up, we have Super Monkey Ball Master by Barhunger coming up very shortly. Stay tuned. Alrighty, who's ready for some Super Monkey Ball? We've got Master by Bahunga coming right up.